Hi, VencoreWeather.com meteorologist Paul Dorian here on Thursday, March 9th. A lot to talk about, a very active weather pattern for the next week or so here in the Mid-Atlantic region. It all begins with the passage of an Arctic frontal system by early tomorrow. Low pressure will form along that Arctic front late tonight into the day on Friday. At first, it will be too warm for anything but rain in the I-95 corridor region between D.C., Philadelphia, and New York City. However, as colder air filters in later tonight, early tomorrow from the north to the south, there can be a changeover to snow, and in fact some snow could fall as far south as the suburbs of D.C. on Friday, and certainly there can be some wet snow accumulations, primarily on non-paved surfaces on Friday. I'm thinking on the order of a coating in some of the suburban locations north and west of the district, a coating to an inch or two in and around Philly, and 2 to 4 inches possible on Friday in the New York City metro region. Once the steadier snow, possibly mixed with rain, ends during the midday hours on Friday, there can be additional snow showers later tomorrow afternoon, perhaps even a heavier snow squall or two, especially north of the Mason-Dixon line late in the day on Friday. Then the Arctic blast just overtakes the area Friday night and Saturday. The potential next threat late in the weekend will stay far to our south. It looks like we will escape without any snow in the I-95 corridor, but then there will be another storm threat late Monday night and Tuesday. That could intensify rapidly along the Mid-Atlantic coastline and produce some snow around Tuesday of next week, and that will be followed by another Arctic blast for the middle part of next week, and there could be another storm threat by the end of next week. So a lot to talk about. I thought we'd just kind of go through the graphical representation at first before we take a look at last night's Zero-Z GFS model run. First of all, the big story is that there's Arctic cold high pressure dropping southeast from Canada into the northern U.S. They've had some tremendously cold air up in the Canadian Arctic, and that is where our air mass originates that will arrive here Friday night and Saturday. Saturday we'll see temperatures in the I-95 corridor region some 20 degrees below normal for this time of the year. For example, Philly has a normal high this time of the year around 50 degrees. We'll be lucky to reach the freezing mark on Saturday in the Philadelphia region. First of all, an Arctic frontal system will be dropping south and east overnight tonight in this fashion, like this, south and east, moving in this direction. Now, as this Arctic front arrives, low pressure will form, and let's draw that right now. What should happen later tonight? There will be a frontal boundary zone in this fashion here. Low pressure will form right along that frontal boundary zone and move to the east in this fashion. Initially, it'll be too warm for anything but rain in D.C., Philadelphia, New York City, but as that low progresses to the east, colder air will move in from the north to the south, and the precipitation should transition from the north to the south, from rain to snow. Again, even all the way down into the suburbs of D.C., there can be that changeover, or at least a mixing with snow on Friday. In Philadelphia, New York City, it should be snow by early tomorrow morning, so it could have an impact on the commute. Again, this time of the year, and given the warm temperatures expected today, snow accumulations on Friday should be primarily on non-paved surfaces. Again, maybe a coating on the grassy areas north and west of D.C., a coating to a couple of inches in and around Philly, and maybe 2 to 4 inches in the New York City metro region. Then by tomorrow night, this Arctic blast will just completely take over, overwhelm the northeastern part of the U.S. The next storm system will be shunted way down to the south over the weekend, coming down into this region like this by Sunday morning. It will not take a turn up the East Coast. It will rather go out to sea, so we stay cold and dry over the weekend. Again, very cold for this time of year. Now, going into the early part of next week, we will still have that cold air in place in the northeast U.S. The next storm system looks like it'll drop into the Ohio Valley right around in this position right here. And at that same time, by, let's say, early Tuesday morning, a secondary low will be forming off the Mid-Atlantic coastline This could intensify rapidly and move north and east along the coastline. That, of course, is several days away, but that's a potential significant storm threat in the northeast U.S. And this whole region right in here could certainly see some snow by Tuesday from that next storm threat. Well, let's now take a look at last night's 0Z GFS model run. First, I want to focus in on the upper level pattern, the 500 millibar vorticity maps. Again, as we've been doing all week, we'll walk through these in 6-hour increments right through the upcoming several days to see the difference in the upper air pattern for each of these storm threats. One on Friday, the next one over the weekend stays to our south, and then another threat by about Tuesday of next week. And even beyond that, there's some possibilities by the latter part of next week. Let's just move ahead. First of all, this is excuse me, where we stand this morning, Thursday morning. Again, a mild day, the last mild day for a while. Temperatures could reach or surpass 60 degrees in parts of the I-95 corridor this afternoon. Lots of sunshine this morning, some clouds later on today. Lots of strung out vorticity here as it stands right now. Let's keep moving ahead. And here we go by early tonight. Notice a little dip in the jet stream over the western part of the Great Lakes. Pretty decent upper level wave headed this way, and that drops south and east. It deepens somewhat. This is now tomorrow morning. So a pretty decent upper level energy pattern here shaping up for Friday. This system on Friday, tomorrow, is quite energetic, has a decent amount of precipitation. It would be a very nice snowstorm if not for the fact that it's so warm ahead of it. But a lot of that, if you're a snow lover, you know that a lot of the precipitation will be wasted if you are indeed a snow lover, because it'll be in the form of rain at the onset here. But this is quite a healthy system coming by tomorrow afternoon. A vigorous looking upper level wave of energy that could also produce some snow showers, maybe even a heavier snow squall during the afternoon, maybe the early evening hours on Friday. Let's keep moving ahead. That finally pushes off by Friday night, and here we are by Saturday morning, just a flood of Arctic air into the northeast U.S. Again, some 15 to 20 degrees below normal for this time of the year on Saturday. It will be dry, but still windy and very cold. Let's keep moving forward. And here we get to Sunday morning. This is that storm we were worried about for a while, but it looks like it'll stay to our south. And one of the reasons, there's a northern wave of energy right across this region here. Again, this is Sunday morning, and a southern wave of energy. But notice here, they just do not phase in time to produce a storm that'll turn up the east coast. They just stay separate. That storm system pretty much follows this path of the height pattern here, all the way down into the deep south and then off the southeast U.S. coastline. It can be some significant snow from this storm way down into North Carolina, maybe parts of southern Virginia, for example. But a storm system just stays on this area, does not turn up the coast, as these upper level waves just do not phase in time for any kind of snow here later this weekend in the I-95 corridor. Let's now move into early part of next week. Here we are now, Monday morning, another wave of energy dropping into the western Great Lakes region. And watch what happens here. This dives farther south than the Friday system and becomes a very impressive upper level wave of energy digging deep here, deep into the south. That will allow low pressure to form. If in fact this comes true, it will allow low pressure to form right here off the mid-Atlantic coastline by early Tuesday and intensify rapidly as it moves up the New England coastline here. Let's keep moving forward. It even becomes kind of a negatively tilted trough here with the orientation more northwest to southeast. That suggests intensification of low pressure off the northeast coastline during the day on Tuesday. So that is a very impressive looking upper level pattern for that next threat by about Tuesday of next week. Notice upstream yet another wave of energy that could cause some interesting activity during the latter part of next week. Well, let's now progress through the surface forecast maps from last night's 0Z GFS model run. Again, we talked up front in graphical format about the sequence of event. An Arctic front arrives in the I-95 corridor region. Low pressure forms along that front, pulls in colder air during this Friday precipitation event, so the rain should change to snow from northwest to southeast or north to south. And then the second storm over the weekend stays to our south, and then a third threat comes by Tuesday. Let's walk through. Here we are this morning, Thursday morning. High pressure still in control. A lot of sunshine, especially this morning, and one more mild day on tap. But then by tonight, low pressure starts to form as an Arctic frontal boundary zone drops into the mid-Atlantic region. And here, that low pressure area, colder air starting to filter in. It will not come in full blast overnight. In other words, it won't be 40 degrees 1 hour and 30 degrees the next hour. It'll be kind of a gradual filtering in the overnight hours. Once this low pushes to the east, that'll drag in the colder air behind it, and there will still be some precipitation. This is the forecast map now by tomorrow morning. That low pressure off the coast, already snowing in Philadelphia, New York City. Again, it could have an impact on the early morning commute because it should be changed over to snow by that time north of the Mason-Dixon line. Again, expect most accumulations to occur on non-paved surfaces. Even some snowflakes could start showing up in the suburbs of D.C. tomorrow morning. And then by tomorrow afternoon, that upper level wave of energy passes overhead. There can be a few additional snow showers, maybe even a heavier snow squall. Again, the best chance for that will be north of the Pennsylvania-Maryland border. Then by tomorrow night, a lingering snow shower. But look at these isobars here, this pressure gradient. First of all, it's tight, so it'll remain windy. Winds generally flow parallel to the isobar pattern here. In this case, on the backside of that intensifying low from the north to the south, Arctic air just floods the region on Friday night, way down into the teens in some areas by Saturday morning. And again, very cold weekend coming up. Let's keep moving forward. That next system, a healthy storm, but it'll stay just to our south here and perhaps produce some snow into southern Virginia and North Carolina. May get a significant snowfall out of this. This is Sunday morning, again, staying to our south, pretty much shunted south with this flood of Arctic air that comes in by the early weekend. And this storm does not turn up the coast. Notice we saw those upper level energies, one in the northern stream, one in the southern stream, that do not phase. Hence, this storm will not intensify and move up the coast. It'll move off the coast here. Let's now keep moving forward. Notice here by Monday morning, very strong and cold Arctic high, always a key ingredient to potential snowstorms in the mid-Atlantic region, to have a kind of a banana-shaped high-pressure system extending from the northern plains into southeastern Canada. Yet another wave, and we saw before, very energetic upper-level pattern associated with this wave. This is now Monday morning, a dry, cold day on Monday, but then one wave of low pressure looks like it'll head into the Ohio Valley. Draped on top of this Arctic high pressure, one center over New England, another over the northern plains. Let's keep moving forward here. Now by late Monday night into Tuesday morning, that Ohio Valley low tends to transfer its energy to a secondary mid-Atlantic coastal low. This will intensify rapidly with that deepening upper level trough at 500 millibars. And then this should move up along the New England coastline, and it could produce a healthy snow event in much of the northeastern U.S., including all the way down into the D.C. metro region, late Monday night, Tuesday time frame. Again, still several days away. We'll see if this holds true, but this is the potential exists. And this will be followed by yet another Arctic air mass for the middle of next week, and yet another wave of energy could cause some havoc during the latter part of next week. So a lot going on over the next 7 days or so here in the Mid-Atlantic region. One final warm day today, and then an Arctic blast arrives during the day on Friday, and especially noticeable by Friday night and Saturday. Some wet snow accumulation possible in much of the Mid-Atlantic region on Friday. The next storm threat after that will be late Monday night and Tuesday of next week. That's it for now. For VencoreWeather.com, I'm meteorologist Paul Dorian.